Hi, Steve Creel here in beautiful Visalia, California. Welcome to the podcast, Forgiveness Equals Freedom. So, here is an inalterable truth of life for all of us, whatever age and stage we might be in. When we absorb damage or hurt from one or more other people, we're confronted suddenly with a group of choices. Many times we're unaware that we have those choices, and so we unintentionally make the worst choice. Here's what that looks like. Someone hurts you in some fundamental way, and the truth is you have all kinds of choices. You can seek revenge. You can wait for kind of the idea of karma, that somehow the universe itself will make things right, or you can forgive, or you can go on the attack and savage that person's reputation, backstab, talk to other people. But what it feels like when we are hurt is that there really is only one choice, and that is to seek out or wait for revenge. And when that fundamental choice is made, in the instance of being harmed, what we are actually doing is we're adding to the weight of our life. We're adding to the weight in our souls and our hearts. And so we go forward. Most of us never take revenge, or at least we don't take revenge that brings about actual justice. What we do is we chew on the events over and over again, and we give ourselves to the process of daydreaming about revenge, or even enjoying if the person who harmed us comes to harm themselves. And we imagine conversations and other things that we would do, what we would say to really show the person how wrong they were and to teach them what it feels like. I think that is the most common way to react to injury for most people. The trouble with that, of course, is multiple levels. The first is that when you make the decision to continue forward with that hurt inside of you, buying into the lie that revenge or whatever is going to make it better eventually, all you've done is to burden yourself. And over time, over usually a fairly long period of time, we pick up enough insults and injuries and difficulties in our lives that without our ever noticing it, we become brittle and so full of unfinished business and so full of rehearsed pain and distrust that goes with it, that we find ourselves acting in ways that we really don't want to act in. So it's easy to illustrate. If a parent with kids has a difficult time at work or even difficulty in the marriage, over a period of time, the stress of needing to raise kids and teach them right from wrong and be patient with them as they learn, it's replaced by the brittle harshness of an abusive parent who yells and screams and demeans and takes out all of the anger that actually is for the parent or the boss or whoever hurt them in the past, takes it out on an innocent child. And so today I want to just talk about there's real danger in choosing how to deal with things that have hurt us. And the danger is that we will become as bad, if not worse, than the people who abused us. If we keep that pain inside of us and masticate on it and fret about it and play out the scenarios like I've talked about for a very long time, we become less and less joyful, less and less able to accept the idiosyncrasies and otherness of other people. We become brittle and mean and harsh and judgmental, and pretty soon we get good at abusing what power we might have. Again, whether it's a parent to a child or a boss to a coworker, or even in the case of our political state right now in our country, we get good at dismissing people completely in their humanity because they hold an idea or ideal that we disagree with. So it's like a trap. It's like being trapped in a dark room, and you're doomed to stumble around and to injure yourself more, stubbing your toe or kicking into furniture or even falling down. when you keep a hurt inside of you and you try the methods of the world to get rid of it, you're hurting yourself so much so that you become the very thing that you despise. And you despise that thing, that human being, that person, that incident, because it hurt you and it wasn't right. It wasn't fair. It's damaging spiritually. It's upsetting to God's natural order put inside of us. That's a very real difficulty and situation that all of us face when we are insulted and harmed in some way by another person, and we have then to figure out how to get out of it. So this podcast is about forgiveness, and obviously then I will weigh in heavily on recognize the fact that you have choices no matter how you feel. Again, when we're hurt, when somebody says something bad to us or about us or whatever the situation is, it feels like the only choice we have is figure out how to get even. How long will it take? How to make the other person feel the pain. But that's not true. That's a lie. I'll remind you, the Bible says Satan is the father of lies. And this is the great lie, I think, for every human being in every situation that has ever been. You have more options in the difficulties of your life than the world makes you aware of. The option of forgiveness is the hardest option. It calls us to work diligently and to really come in our hearts and souls to sanity about the truth of the world. And it causes us to stretch and grow in ways that, frankly, we oftentimes don't want to. But the end result is that the injury that's visited upon us by someone else, when we work hard to forgive them, makes us into people that we would want to be. We all want to be loving and kind, generous of spirit. We all want to be people who suspend horrible judgments until we understand where the other person is coming from and what they're doing. We want to be graceful, and we want to be held in esteem by our peers and by our family and by the people who know us best. We want to be known as people who love. So the result of the hard work of forgiveness, the result of the great difficulty that goes into unpacking all of the things that most of us have to unpack, the result of that is an amazing way of being and a sense of fulfillment with how we are spending our life. So that kind of, I hope, begins to set the stage for the reason it's important to go about the task of forgiveness. It is a truth that when we are harmed by another person in whatever way, the choices we have are to rise above it by doing what Christ taught, which is working hard to be able to forgive the person, really forgive them, so that they're not in your soul anymore. Or the other choice we have is to let their effect poison us until we become as bad, if not worse, than they are, and we go on then and visit the harm that was given to us on other people who are innocent, and we start the process all over again. It's a fundamental choice. If you're in a marriage, or if you struggle with your relationship with your parents, or again at work, whatever the situation might be, do recognize it if it is a really hard situation for you and it feels toxic and horrible, and you're not in the business of forgiving, you're not holding yourself accountable for doing what needs to be done to end the cycle. Even if you didn't start it, and even if it was unfair for you, you have become a part of the problem, and you're making life's journey more difficult for yourself and for other folks. So in between these podcasts, I'll post another one next week, which will be really on the first stage or step, the decision-making and the beginning of how to forgive. I would like for you to just think about these things this week. Watch the news. God help us, I wouldn't recommend that too often, but watch the evening news on one of the main channels, ABC, NBC, Fox, whatever you want to watch. And notice how self-assured and arrogant and mean-spirited and dismissive and angry everyone in the political realm is right now. There's no sense of common cause. There's no sense of compromise and working toward a solution. It is a vitriolic, hate-fueled rhetoric led by people who don't have the foggiest idea that they ever had a choice and they could have forgiven, and they could have developed their soul and their life in different ways. I am personally just so tired of the back and forth. It makes me tired and it makes me sad. What it doesn't do, because I really concentrate on forgiveness in my life, it doesn't light me up. I don't hate people who are in a different political party than I am. I don't hate anybody for their political ideas. To me, the process that our country is supposed to be engaged in is supposed to be to debate and to try lots of different ideas. It affects different people differently. If you have somebody that has bumper stickers or articles of clothing or whatever, and you know, my gosh, don't talk about politics with them or they will just come after you. You know somebody who has made a tragic choice in other arenas in their life that led them to be easily susceptible to the manipulations of other tyrants who don't know about forgiveness. It's really simple to look around the world and see the results of unforgiveness, of the decision not to forgive or to try to defeat and destroy people who have harmed you or whom you disagree with. And it's really tragic. It makes a mess of the world, and the world in its best circumstance is difficult. So look around the national stage. It's sadly easy to do that right now, but also look around your workplace and look around your house and look around your friends and other relationships and begin to acknowledge people who are really angry and who are difficult to deal with, who other people are afraid of or who they don't want anything to do with. They're people who made a choice that likely you have made too. I certainly have in my life. And that choice is to say, forgiveness, I'm not going to do that. This person needs justice. I want justice in this situation. The horrible truth of the matter is there is no justice. And in fact, when we pursue revenge and payback and all of its various components, what we do is we drink the poison and we become poisonous ourselves. So look around, because what we will be offering in the months and weeks to come is a continuing discussion of and illustration of the difference that making the choice for forgiveness can make in those situations. Anyway, I am just thrilled to be able to be in this podcast and to be sharing what has really changed my life and the lives of many, many people that I am associated with here at the church and in my family and elsewhere. I am an advocate for the best thing you can do when you are harmed by another person is figure out how to do the hard work of forgiving them, because it removes most, if not all, of the power their evil and anger has over you, and it sets you free to live a life that is worthy of being created by God and a life that heals or helps heal other people's wounds. Look around, note the difference between the people in your life who are generous of spirit and loving and kind, who you look up to, and those that you feel differently about. And do know the difference in every case, I promise you, is the decision they make when they are first harmed. Okay, we'll talk to you next week. God bless. Thank you.